Good morning, Special Operations, Stevie speaking.
SORT call, Derek. It's an off-road incident. Need a Land Rover in Polaris. Could you mobilise the team, please?
A Special Operations Response team of the Scottish Ambulance Service responds to an incident.
Anybody in here walking?
It could be to a road traffic collision on a busy motorway, or to a chemical leak at a factory. It could be dealing with injuries from an industrial incident or mass casualties from a major fire or explosion. Their specialist training, equipment and vehicles ensure that they can rapidly deliver care to patients, wherever and whenever it is needed. Since 2002, the Scottish Ambulance Service has had a department to deal with risk and resilience.
I think the most important aspect is Special Operations Response Teams, primarily to enhance the ability of the service to deal with the consequences of terrorist actions, incidents that were deliberately caused. And from the very beginning, the main objective was, of course, to save life.
Providing this effective care to the patient, no matter where they are, requires Special Operations Response Teams to be able to work in challenging and hazardous environments, including in situations involving chemical, biological, radiological or nuclear materials, and resulting in mass casualties, either as a result of an industrial incident or a terrorist attack. And practical training in various casualty situations is key to ensuring that the teams are ready to deliver the appropriate patient care, whatever the situation.
Training for the Special Operations teams needs to be realistic, which involves working in fairly challenging environments, darkened rooms, smoke-filled rooms, environments where there's a lot of noise, screaming, pretty much simulating what may actually happen in real life.
A lot of the recent training that we've been doing with SORT has been more intense. It's very physical, especially with the breathing apparatus course that we did out at Gullin. A lot of that was very demanding, getting through small spaces, dangerous environments that were very dark and smoke-filled.
Increasingly we're finding more and more every year now we're having floods, and everyone's seen it on the news and we're all aware of what can happen. And ultimately getting back to why SORT exists is taking the care to the patient. So therefore, in a water environment, it's exactly the same principle. It's just about getting us to the patient.
Emergency situations don't always occur during warm summer's days, so this exercise is being staged in a barn and windswept area typical of the conditions under which Special Operations Response Teams may have to operate.
I think we recognise that a lot of the training is done in training establishments. It's fairly comfortable, and it's important really to take people out of this comfort zone, expose them to the reality of the sort of environment that they may be working in, just to get rid of some of that exercise artificiality.
What we're doing just now is actually simulating erecting a casualty clearance station for reacting to a major incident, basically creating a lot of casualties. What we need to be able to do is create somewhere an environment for them to be able to be treated. So inside there it's almost like a mobile hospital, as it were.
Get as much equipment as you can!
While training must be practical, it also needs to be interesting, and developing team working skills can be a challenge to all involved.
I've enjoyed it. I have to throw yourself into it wholeheartedly. We worked as a good team, and I think it's been really enjoyable.
We've learned how to communicate a lot better and how to get the team together and how all to work together.
SORT is integral to the Scottish Ambulance Service. We are part of the Scottish Ambulance Service. What we do is around 500 calls a year that are either potential or actual major incidents where SORT people need to use their specific skills. But in addition to that, we also support divisions by carrying out around 9,000 calls a year to what we call Category A or life-threatening emergency calls. So SORT makes a huge contribution to the wider service.
When we don't have SORT incidents ongoing, we'll generally work in the fast car response. We'll help with the 999s, doing general paramedic technician duties out with the patients.
Special Operations Response Teams are continuing to develop both their skills and their specialist equipment, including all-terrain vehicles to get the paramedics quickly to where the patient is.
Please, sir, can you just stand out of the road, please? Just stand out of the road, thank you. Okay, tell me what's been happening here.
I don't know, we just found him like this.
Just keep that pressure on that wind for me. Okay, John, if you get the cat on.
We try to simulate training in a near real-time environment as possible, and that involves using live casualty players. This is extremely effective because it not only conditions us in terms of our clinical responses, but the psychological effects of having to deal with casualties. Using this type of training is extremely important.
There's no such thing as wasted time in regards to training. There's an old cliche, train hard, fight easy, and that's hopefully what we try to aim for. There's only so much reality you can have in training, but the more you do it, the more familiar you get, and every time you do something, it just reminds you again, every time spent on training is valuable.
Previously there was what we'd call a therapeutic vacuum. There would be an area within which patients could be located, but where they weren't receiving care from ambulance professionals. So our aim these days to fill that vacuum by ensuring that staff can get into the seat of the incident, wherever that's possible, to enable that treatment to take place more quickly and more effectively, and hopefully save more lives and affect the longer term outcomes for those patients.
The Scottish Ambulance Service doesn't work in isolation at the scene of major emergencies, and all the emergency services plan for and train together on various scenarios throughout the year. Understanding everyone's specialist role is key to working successfully together.
The Special Operations Response Team have all received awareness training on forensic considerations at incidents. However, the key priority for the ambulance service is the saving of life, regardless of the forensic issues.
Effective command, control and coordination is essential at major emergencies. As additional teams and resources are deployed, operations are managed from a command vehicle, as are communications with partner agencies, both at the scene and elsewhere.
SORT staff get a lot of exposure to a variety of different types of emergency, and they're able to bring their special skills to bear. Situational awareness and in teamwork and scene management work very well for them when they attend other incidents, not just ones that are potential or actual major incidents.
Historically, the ambulance service has always been on the outer limits of the incident, waiting for patients to be brought to them. Times have changed, and the idea is to get us to the patient now.
It's training that I've never done before. Using the BA apparatus, it was more physically demanding than any other course I've took part in. I've also had the opportunity to do off-road training, which is training that I've never ever received in ambulance service before. It's bringing more experience, more clinical skills to benefit the patient.
In the back of your mind, you know, it always just is a scenario, and it's always it's role play. But when you find yourself in these situations, something seems to kick in, and you take it very serious. It kind of goes out your mind that it's actually a scenario. When you're dealing with these patients, the adrenaline's flowing. It's very realistic. You need to take the skills that you've learned. You need to take this into the real world, as it were. And if this ever happened, then you can take something from it. That everybody's going to be working as a team. Everybody's comfortable. Everybody knows what they're doing. Everything will be done to a standard that is expected.